Head of SAP Business Network, and one of the winners of this year's Women in Supply Chain Award presented by Supply and Demand Chain Executive. Paige, first off, welcome and congratulations. How does it feel to be named one of our Women in Supply Chain winners?
Thank you, Marina, and I'm very happy to be here. Obviously, very honored to be named as the winner. And I'm pretty sure there are a lot of amazing leaders out there, and so just feel very honored to be part of it. Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
Of course. So now we all know, the COVID pandemic happened last year. This year kind of resulted in a lot of other bottlenecks of challenges. What kind of challenges from where you sit do you see that the industry is facing, and how are you personally helping to overcome them with your company?
Yeah, very good. I mean, we work very, very closely with our customers. If we look at SAP, our history, we come from very core. We help improving people's lives, right? We help the company to run better. And that is a constant dialogue. And when we work with our customers, which also look to us to say, how do we do this together? How do we overcome these challenges? And if you look the last, it's 2 years going, and since the pandemic, that supply chain now becomes a top agenda at every CEO's mind, because the entire movement of services and goods have been challenged, right? So, because you think about supply chain, is all about making the right product and create that best customer experience for the customer, that end customer like us. And that meaning getting the material. Where do I get the material to? Do I make it in-house? Do I continue to outsource to contract manufacturer? How do I supply? Who do I source with? Where I source? Is that sourcing going to be meet my not only just the demand of my material flow? It does even also becomes my sustainability goal. So a lot of this is, how do I bring this together, and then how do I move them? Yeah, I get it from this person, but how does that get moved to where I need to be? So really, supply chain becomes not only that linear spend management, it becomes this circular relationship. So networks becomes naturally the economy by default, especially when you have these kind of highlighted challenges around the globe. Then it's all about, how do I manage these risks, looking at these data, gain the visibility and transparency together with my ecosystems, my supply chain. And I think that's also why SAP kind of made a very strategic focus in the business network area. And I have this amazing job that get the opportunity to lead it and drive it. And what we see is, this is the next market making opportunity, where we can really take that ERP of the past that focus on very enterprise centric business processes optimization, to this very much network orchestrated, this kind of risk built-in, risk-proof sort of a supply chain design in the network itself. And that's a super exciting time, because for us at SAP, we have this incredible blessing install base that we in all the core industries that we work with the customers. Now, if we could also bring that together with the business network to connect them, not only connecting these enterprises, but bring the enterprise and their ecosystem, their demand chain and supply chain together in a network, in the world's largest business network, then essentially we're creating a network of intelligent enterprises. Because you cannot do business alone today, right? You always have to do it with somebody else. So that's kind of the exciting time for us. And then we also think this is also something, as that neutral partner, that technology partner, that we feel that SAP has that unique place that we can really support this network economy.
So how do you think that the industry should go about recruiting more females, whether they're, youth coming into the industry as new, or just, keeping tabs on the women that are already in the supply chain? How do you think that we should work to do that?
We should, I mean, these kind of forum, of course, now this kind of visibility is also a good, hopefully this, my learning and experience could also inspire somebody else to take on that passion. Personally, I grew up in supply chain. I actually started in the shop floor. So my experience, I was in the automotive industry. I was in the very core of the engine control modules. So totally a nerd. I moved from the shop floor. Then I thought, oh, let me understand the overall manufacturing, the whole manufacturing strategy. I lived in different continents, and most of my career I spent in the US, but I spent a lot of time in Asia. And then the last 6 years, I've been focused on in our headquarters in Germany. So because my team is very global, and this is a center of the time zone, so to say that I could cover all the time zones. And it's interesting because I started in manufacturing, then I thought, making the product, it's a very core of it, but then the innovation, how do you develop the product, design the product? So I actually moved, then I thought, okay, let me move up the supply chain and focus a bit more on design, on PLM, on R&D. So I also did that. And then later on, it's always about this whole customer centricity experience. And then I thought, now you can get that design experience so that you're making the product, but how do you understand, how do you actually get that serviced and shipped to the end customer, or how do you move these movements? So then I moved to the logistics side of the business. So it kind of, my career has been following different parts of supply chain. And finally, it's now, these siloed supply chain, you would say functional areas are very linear and very also one-to-one. So what if we would have a network to kind of bring that together? Because supply chain by nature is network based. They're meaning that the customer in the end, that, you think about it in a way as if we're making the product, it's between that product, from that idea to the product to actually delivering that to the end customer. Everything in the middle is supply chain. And there's so many people involved in this, not only in your own enterprise, but also all the partners in ecosystem and trading partner that you work with. And so then I thought, oh, yeah, so why not? Then we started moving into this network supply chain, which kind of connects all the way from planning to sourcing to design to manufacturing to operating to logistics, right? So this entire chain, and then it's kind of a very responsive supply chain. So that's kind of so I think, and I also worked from a very technical discipline that actually writing engine control modules to, now being the chief product officer and also head up all the development unit. I think that for women, it's like if this becomes, and if this is a very interesting topic, which I think it is, because it's one of the largest challenge we have to overcome, then why not more women and can also grow in this area? And I just think it's, to me, it's a super exciting and also very interesting topic. It's also a very difficult topic because after all these years, every successful company, it's continuing to looking at whether their supply chain design is at its optimal place, or can they do better, right? And that's why I think it would be very interesting for us to also tap into.
Well, I think that's fascinating. I think you are fascinating. I don't know about when our readers watch this, but I could sit and listen to you talk all day, because I think you have a lot of important pieces to say because of your history and your ability to kind of navigate through the supply chain as a female. What would you tell your younger self, and what advice do you have for the young women trying to get into the supply chain?
That's really interesting. I think it's always about so when we talk about supply chain, it's all about this gaining visibility and how do you collaborate? How do you gain visibility? Because that visibility data gives you the decision making. So making those insights actionable. And I think then if we look at ourselves, it's also the same. If you are in a reflection of what you do and then turn that into a purpose, because it's like if you think you're building something or orchestrating, creating something that's gonna benefit, right? So software making today is not about just purely technology anymore. It's about solving problems. And so to me, it's like, do you know what problem are we solving? And to our customer, do we understand their challenges? And where are their most pain and relevance that we could create something to solve that? So I think that is something, I think that would be the evolution. Because I think when I first started out, it's more about building cool things and building things. Now I'm more looking at where are the breakdowns, where are the fragmentation in the market, in the supply chain, and what can we do to overcome that? So then, of course, naturally, technology becomes that tool, but it's not just the technology.
I love it. Thank you so much for everything that you do in our supply chain to keep products moving. Thank you to your company. Paige Cox, everyone, Senior Vice President and Global Head of SAP Business Network, and one of the recipients of Supply and Demand Chain Executives Women in Supply Chain Award for 2021. Congratulations again, Paige. To learn more about Paige, go to stcexec.com. Thank you very much.